What is up, guys? Welcome to the channel. This is my run through for UFC 309. Possible double retirement, possible crazy upset. Um, I am looking forward to the main event because I just want to see either of these guys fight. I know most people aren't that interested in the fight, but I've been watching MMA for a long time, and knowing these guys are at the end of the tracks, I want to see what they got left. I think Stipe is going to surprise a few people. What I'm most interested in is to see if Stipe can outbox John, how his speed is, and the wrestling. I want to see who can take who down because I want to see if Stipe can keep it on the feet. Stipe is a real good fighter. Yeah, they lost to Francis, but it's a heavyweight division and Francis hits like a truck, so I don't think you can put too much stock into that. Um, just think of the comeback against DC and then winning again against DC by decision. The first beatdown he put on Francis scared him straight into the Derek Lewis fight. This is a better fight, I think, than what people think. I think if Aspinall wasn't there and Aspinall didn't exist, I think people would be a lot more hyped about this fight. It's because they look at it like a duck, and Stipe is an old washed fighter that they're not that interested. But Stipe seems like an ultimate professional that doesn't party. He's got his family that he seems to care about a lot. I think he's a consummate professional, and I bet he looks after himself. Obviously, injuries that has nothing to do with how you party or don't party. I get that, but yeah. Anyway, let's get into this. It's not the biggest, the deepest card ever, but there's some decent fights on here. So let's go. They're trying to sell the hell out of this pay-per-view too. Let's see. Two division champion, most championship fight wins, most light heavyweight title defenses, and then Stipe has two-time heavyweight champion, most heavyweight title fight KOs, and most heavyweight title defenses, which is all facts, I guess. I mean, Stipe can become a three-time champion. Imagine this for a comeback. Like, he'll be knocking people like Randy Couture out the water. He'll be a three-time heavyweight champion, a comeback we've never seen, and beating the greatest of all time, and being the only person possibly to ever beat John Jones. Imagine if he starches him too, like what that would do for his legacy. I mean, it's almost unbelievable, hard to think of, but maybe we've seen these things happen. But I mean, John Jones is different to everyone else we've seen. But time waits for no man, and as hard as it is to picture John getting smacked out, I always remember thinking, if there's one man that can do it, God rest his soul, rest in peace, may he rest in peace, it's Anthony Rumble Johnson. I always thought if that guy catches John on the chin, he could be in some serious trouble. I thought other than that, I don't see anyone knocking John out. But let's get into this. Right, let's go back to the bottom. Veronica Hardy versus Edward Mora, Dan Hardy's missus. She's a dime piece. Not that interested in this fight. I'm going to go with Veronica Hardy by decision. Right, let's get into the real fights. Oban Elliott from Wales, big up versus Basil Havez. These are two submission slash grinders. Do you know what I mean? These are two decision grinders. These are two grinders going against each other. You know, two DeWalt grinders grinding against each other. Basil Havezi, I mean, he's been out for a while, isn't he? I haven't seen him fight for a while. It's been at least a year, I'm sure. When did he last fight? See, look at that. He's got one knockout win, but he's never been knocked out. When did he last fight? Against Mickey Gall, decision. Oh, so it wasn't that long ago. It felt like forever ago. And he lost, look at that, a split against Jack Della Maddalena. That's a win that's aged really well. And it wasn't a bad win at the time either. So he got a loss against JDM and a win against Mickey Gall. Well, it seemed like it was ages ago when he last fought. Nakajaparia. Was that an early prelim and I missed it or something? I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to go with Oban Elliott by decision. I'm not confident on that. I mean, I would almost want to lean to Basil Havez. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Basil Havez wins, but I'm going with Oban Elliott because he's the Welsh lad, and I'm going with the Welsh gangster. Simple as that. I'm not going to go against the Welshman. How can I? Mickey Gall. Oh my days. Mickey Gall is one fight away from being a 500 fighter. Wow. CM Punk's nemesis. He might have to. Do you know what? He's always got. He can always go and shine. Like if CM Punk still wrestles somewhere, he can always like turn up and be like have a little walkout and have a little music and walkout entrance theme and that. And it's Mickey Gall, and then I guess CM Punk can whip him in the wrestling ring and say it's different here or something like that. It would be quite funny, wouldn't it? I guess the wrestling fans wouldn't even know who he was against Rimis Bramish. Not too. So he's 2-3. It's an ear injury. So he's losing to Max Griffin with an injury. Court McGee, Temba Garimbo. I don't really rate any of those guys. Court I rate. I rate Court, but he's old. He's good for an old guy, but he's an old guy. Man, the best of a bad bench. I'm going to go with Brahimaj. I'm going to go with, I can't even say it, Ramiz. I'm going to go with. Is he the favourite? Oh, even. Yeah, I'm going to go with Ramiz. Purely because Mickey Gall just seems like he's just lost it these days. Now, this is an interesting fight. Marcin Tybura versus Jonata Deniz. He fought very, very recently. Who's the favourite? It's not showing me. Well, I feel this fight, if Marcin Tybura can make it an MMA fight, mix it up, takedowns, and get him tired and make him work, I think he can win it. I think he should win it. He's got the experience. He's fought the good fighters. Jonata Deniz, he's a kickboxer. A lot of these guys have seen Alex Pereira now, and they're running over thinking we can make some real money because kickboxing, the purses, and MMA, they don't get paid what they deserve, but they still get paid more than kickboxers. The thing is, with kickboxers, they fight every other week, so they're getting paychecks all the time. So they accept those paychecks that are smaller. Whereas MMA, it takes a bit more of a toll on you. Not that kickboxing doesn't, but you can only fight 2-3 times a year. So if you're making 12 and 12 and you lose 3 fights in a row, you're making $36,000 after taxes, trainers, stuff like that. Unless you've got someone who's supporting you, you're screwed. Anyway. Jonata Deniz, he can win it by knockout early, I think, but if he doesn't get him out of there in the first or second and Tybura starts taking him down and getting him tired and working him and making it an MMA fight, because Tybura's, he's a good solid fighter. He's good everywhere. He's not A1 at any particular thing, but he's like a good 7 at everything. He's a good solid 7 all the way around. Do you know what I mean? So it was a good test, a real good test to be fair. So I'm going to go with Tybura. By decision, possibly some ground and pound finish, either decision or a ground and pound finish. Depends how he can defend himself. Deniz. Jim Miller versus Damon Jackson. I don't know if Jim Miller's going to retire because this is like a close to home fight for him, being from New Jersey. Damon Jackson, I'm sure he got pretty beat up in his last fight. Let's have a look. Chepe Mariscal, I think he got quite beat up in there. Man, he's 1-3 in his last 4. I'm going to go with Jim Miller. How can I pick against Jim Miller? Do you know what I mean? It's near even, but I'm going with Miller. This guy needs to retire. It's in his hometown. Eric Anders, he's been on a bit of a. He came in as if he was going to be a future contender or a future top 10 guy. 8-8. He beat Carl Dorcas and Charles Radke in grappling. That's a bit strange. So he lost to Barrio. Won against Jamie Pickett. That was just a toss-up fight for him. So his last fight he won against Jamie Pickett. Jamie Pickett, he's just not a good fighter. All due respect, he's not a good fighter. Weidman, I think his only win is against Thingy, isn't it? Akhmedov. Oh yeah, the Silver fight. Man. I'm going to have to go with Eric Anders. I don't know who's a favourite. Oh, he's a slight favourite. Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Eric Anders purely because Weidman was a great fighter in his day, but his body just fell apart, and it's sad to see when these legends get old and get battered. But man, Weidman, it's just a physicality thing. If Weidman was half the guy he was that beat Anderson Silva, even half of that guy, even 40% of that guy, he'd run through Eric Anders. He'd destroy him. I think people forget how good Weidman was, because when he fell off, he really fell off. But the Belfort, the Machida, those wins he had at the time, they were really good wins. Do you know what I mean? Really good wins. And I know it was Vito's first fight coming off the TRT, and it wasn't the same Vito. But that first round was hairy for him, and a lot of people don't make it out the first round with Vito, and he did. And Vito was putting it on him. I remember that was an exciting fight at the time. Do you know what I mean? Actually, Vito was, because I remember that Vito had all his drug issues, and he still got his title fight. He's one of those guys like Uriah Faber, title shot kid, as Dominic Cruz called him. The UFC just desperately seemed to want to make him champion. Just those guys who got 4 or 5 title shots, like a Kenny Florian, dropping down off a loss and gets an instant title shot. Do you know what I mean? Some guys, if Dana likes you, he'll just keep giving you title shots until you win. Right, this is a good fight. Jonathan Martinez versus Marcus McGee. Martinez, he lost his last fight against Jose Aldo. Wasn't the most inspiring performance. Marcus McGee, man, he does look 100 years old, doesn't he? Sheesh. 34, he's no spring chicken or bantamweight, but look at that, 8 knockout wins. The guy can bang. So his last fight was a standing TKO of Gaston Bolaños, JP Buys, Cheyenne Buys' ex-boyfriend or husband, or Cheyenne Delidze, should I say now. Right hook, rear naked choke. 42 versus 12, man, he must be an underdog, near even. I'm going to take McGee and I'm going to take him by knockout. He has the killer instinct that Martinez doesn't, I think. So I'm taking Marcus McGee and I'm picking him by knockout. James Lontop versus Mauricio Rufy. I remember, what fight did he have that impressed me? I think he lost. I think he's 0-2, isn't he? Yeah. He's 0-2, but in both fights he showed himself to be, you know, something. Or maybe not the Padilla fight, actually, but I remember the Vlasov-Borshev, Slavaclaus, let's call him, fight. The Borshev fight. Man, it was close. Could have gone either way, and I felt bad for him because he fought like a warrior in that fight. That was a great fight. That was a real fun fight to watch. Great fight. So, man, why are they sticking him against someone who's this much of a favourite? Mauricio Huffy, or Huffy, I guess. Jamie Larkey. God damn, I remember that was brutal. So this guy, what's his record? Oh. So all his fights have gone to fuck. It's basically he's 10-1, and everything's a knockout, even his loss. When did he get knocked out? Manuel Sousa in 2019. So it was 5 years ago, basically, November. So literally 5 years ago to the day almost that he got knocked out. It's going to be literally 5 years to the day, more or less, that he got knocked out. Yeah, I'm going to have to take a Huffy in that fight. This one, man, I couldn't care less. I'm going to go with Viviane Araujo by decision. Boring decision. Right, Bo Nickel versus Paul Craig. If Paul Craig didn't have such a bad chin and wasn't so far down damage-wise and age-wise, I would actually pick Paul Craig to win this one. And I think he still could win this one. If Bo Nickel shoots in and doesn't cross his T's and dot his I's, this could go all wrong for him. You know what I mean? I mean, this guy's got wins over Magomed Ankalaev, Jamal Hill. You know, he's got some wins over some champion and possible future champions. Do you know what I mean? Former champions, all that sort of good stuff. I mean, Bo Nickel's hype. What was the guy? I actually bet the guy to win because I had a feeling he'd win because he was a massive underdog. Yeah, Cody Brundage was not a bad fighter, but I think that fight really showed us that this guy, as good as he is as wrestling, I mean, who cares what he can do in a little 2-2? At the end of the day, any cage is completely different, and we know that. And I wasn't impressed in that Brundage fight, and it showed us that he needs to slow his roll and chill. And I think they're giving him this guy, Paul Craig, because I think Paul Craig is very chinny new, and I think they know that, and I think they're banking on him knocking Paul Craig out. And I mean, if he beats Paul Craig, one more win and he'll be in the top 15. If he fights up from Paul Craig, because look, Paul Craig's 23 worldwide, and this is all of MMA. So Johnny Eblin's, all your middleweights. So yeah, man, I think Bo Nickel wins because he's old. But if he goes in and he leaves his neck out there on a takedown, if he doesn't do it all right, like I said, cross his T's and dot his I's, he could be in some serious trouble because Paul Craig is just dangerous. What's his record for submissions? I do like Paul Craig. He's a legend. 36. So he's literally going to be 37 anytime now. 6'3". Not a massive reach for that height. So he's got 4 knockout wins, but 5 knockout losses. He's got 13 submission wins. He's 9-8. Wow, he's a massive favourite. Wow, I might actually stick some money on Paul Craig because a guy with the submissions and the skills that he has, like a Gerald Meerschaert, I won so much money betting on Gerald Meerschaert. I almost bet on him this weekend as well. But these guys who can snatch these victories from jaws of defeat, these crazy submission guys, they might have terrible stand-up. Like Meerschaert is better on the feet than Paul Craig, but you know what I'm saying. They're not, they're not great strikers. They can always pull out these wins. People just don't realize. I think people just don't respect them enough. Do you know what I mean? And they can pull out these wins. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Bo Nickel because of the age and the freshness and the fragility we've seen in Paul Craig. But as I said, if this is Paul Craig of 5 years ago, I'd 100% be going with Paul Craig. I think the damage and the mileage is catching up with him now, and he has really showed a poor chin of late. He has really showed a poor chin. I mean, even jabs are really rocking his world, and he just doesn't have great defense. When you don't have great defense and you've got a rocky chin, a fragile chin, it's a recipe for disaster. When you haven't got good defense, you haven't got good offense, and you're a bit chinny, and you're not a wrestler, you're a submission guy. It's like, ooh, we're gonna do a pull guard. You know, it's a tricky one. This isn't UFC 1. So yeah, I guess I'll have to go with Bo Nickel, but 1,000 to 1, that is crazy odds. I mean, if you've got a few bucks spare, chuck them on Paul Craig, because I mean, 50 quid, you're looking at, 500 back or whatever. What was it? 50 quid. So 50 quid on him, you're looking at 375, including 325 back, and then 375 including your 50. So that ain't bad. Oliveira versus Chandler, man, this is a tough one. I think the fight's going to go longer than the last one. I think both guys are going to be more cautious. I still don't see it going to decision. I mean, if this fight was any two others, I'd say, yeah, after the first fight, these guys are going to both be cautious, more point fighting, more less reckless, more patient, more technical. But it's Oliveira and Chandler. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be a car crash. I'm going to go with Oliveira because he has more ways to win, and he just has more experience in UFC. I mean, Chandler's a good fighter, and Chandler can knock anyone out. I mean, Chandler could beat Islam Makhachev on his day. He could knock him out, or he could do it. But he probably wouldn't, obviously. But I'm just saying, if he fought Islam 10 or 20 times, he'd win at least one of them. Where a lot of guys could fight Islam 100 times and not win one. So I don't really need to get into it. We know what we got with that fight, and it's gonna be a bombastic fight as long as it lasts. It's going to be a barnstormer, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I'm taking Oliveira. I think he hurts him and snatches that neck. I think he hurts him again and snatches that neck up. But if Chandler sparks him out, I wouldn't be surprised. But I mean, if Chandler loses this, where will he be? He's got the Hooker win, the Ferguson win, which I hate to say this, but it doesn't really. So he won against Hooker, lost to Oliveira, lost to Gaethje. Front head kick to Tony, lost to Poirier. I mean, he's been finished in 2 of his losses, so in UFC he's 2-3. He'll be 2-4 if he loses this, and if he wins, he'll be 3-3. What the hell? He fought in Strikeforce? I don't know about this. Oh, Strikeforce Challengers, and then right, he was back 20 when he was Strikeforce Challengers, and obviously just one fight in Strikeforce. Fair enough. Right. Yeah, man, Oliveira's going to hurt him and snatch that neck. Man, we don't even need to go in these guys' records. We know what we got. Why is he ranked 15 worldwide? I do not know. Let's have a look at the rankings. I think Stipe deserves a bit better ranking than that. Let's see who do you think Stipe beats above him. Stipe definitely beats Delima. He's a blown-up middleweight. Definitely beats Bam Bam. Definitely beats Shamil Gaziev. I'm saying definitely because I love Stipe. I love Stipe. He's a gangster. But I'm genuinely believe this. He beats the brakes off Big Boy. He beats the brakes off all of these guys so far. The Black Beast, he beats the brakes off him. Tabora beats the hell out of him. Sergey slaps the life out of him. Charlton slaps him. Pavlovich, that fight, I would have to pick Pavlovich because of the freshness and the power. But Stipe could win that fight. He could win it. Cyril, that'll be a very interesting fight, actually. That would be depending on how he looks, that would be a very, very interesting fight. I would love to see that fight, how it played out on the feet. But I think Stipe with the wrestling, if his back isn't completely gone, I think he wins that fight. Razor Blades, that's another interesting fight. Very interesting fight. Look at that. John Jones is ranked number 4. Ngannou, Aspinall, Volkov, and then Bones. Oh man, that is so funny. You gotta love it. Oh man. And he's been a decision machine as of late, apart from recent fights. Why is it? Yeah, decision. So I'm going off on a tangent here. Man, I don't even know how to break this fight down or what's gonna happen. I have absolutely no idea. Everyone thinks John Jones is going to roll him over, but I think there's going to be an interesting fight because what we've got to remember is we haven't seen John at heavyweight. We haven't seen what he can do. That Cyril fight was nothing. I liked what we saw on the feet briefly. I liked. The way I'm sure he slipped and ripped on Cyril, if I remember rightly, and I was pretty impressed. I thought, ooh, he looks like he's looking good on the feet, and then straight away it was over. But John looked like he was about to handle himself on the feet against Cyril, but I think Cyril might have been cacking his pants, probably thinking this guy is going to take me down and do this and do that, and I think he got in his own head. Like I said before, I don't think Cyril's a natural born fighter, like killer. I don't think he's got that killer instinct. I think he's just a really good athlete and just picked up fighting and just good at it where he's a good athlete. I think Cyril would have been good at a lot of sports, to be honest. Kickboxing, boxing, whatever. Probably could have been a bloody cricket player if he wanted to. He's that kind of guy. But I actually saw him in the crowd in France as well. He seems like a nice guy. He was very speaking to everyone. Him and Marab were cage side. I saw him from my seat over on the side. And yeah, man, he seemed like a nice guy. He was very polite, speaking to everyone, taking photos of everyone. Seems like a really cool guy. But anyway, back to this. Man, I genuinely have no idea what's going to happen, because we don't know what Stipe we're going to get, and we have no idea what Jones is really like a heavyweight, because I wouldn't even count that as a fight. That wasn't a fight. He never got hit, didn't get tired, didn't get out the first round, didn't get out the first bloody minute, really, did he? Barely. So, man, I'm going to go with... Yeah, I'm going to go with... What's the odds on this? Heavy underdog. So I'm going to go with John, but I'm going to put some money on Stipe because he's such a big underdog. I might parlay sort of Stipe with Paul Craig, because if it's a night of upsets, then parlaying Paul Craig and Stipe, I'll be, 20 quid, guess you 200 or something. But, man, I don't even know what to say about this fight. Just let's get it on, let's get it done, and let's speak about it after and see what it's like, see what's happened. But, it's going to be exciting. Hopefully, I really hope this goes 3 or 4 rounds so we can actually see what it looks like, because I don't think John's half the fighter he used to be. I really want to see what John looks like a round 2 and then round 3, and I want it to be a hard, high-paced fight and see what he looks after round 2, after round 3. I think Stipe is going to surprise a lot of people. I think he's going to come in shape. I think if he was really, really, really knackered and had no chance, I don't think he'd be coming back just for the money. I don't think Stipe is that kind of guy. I don't think he'd bother coming back, but I think he's coming back because he really thinks he can win this fight. And man, I'm excited for it. Now it's getting closer. I cannot wait for this fight. Anyone watches this, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscribe, you bastards. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.